Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 3 to What If Naruto Had Death Reaper Magic. So now, a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. As was brought up in the comments of my last video, and I'm not saying people were wrong to comment things about people's characters changing, such as Naruto going around killing people, but you also have to remember this is more of a fan fiction type what if rather than like something that would actually happen, because again, Naruto grew up pretty much not really talking to anybody other than Karama, who at this point wasn't like good. He was still like the evil, has to kill all, has this hatred inside of him that nothing can seem to like he can't really think of anything other than like killing and hate and different things like that, and a Reaper. So Naruto's personality would obviously change from that. So also, they said that Hiruzen would, or people actually said that Hiruzen wouldn't actually lock Naruto up, but you also have to remember that Naruto isn't the little kid that grew up just pranking people. He has a devil, or not a devil, why did I say a devil? He's a Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and he also, where people also maybe like assume that he is kind of being possessed by the literal Reaper inside of him. So I don't think that's too far-fetched to say that Hiruzen would do something like that, considering he loved like Orochimaru or something like that, but he still tried to like at the very least get him out of the village. So I don't see it too far-fetched to say that he would try to get him to get locked up or something like that. And this is just due to him being a little bit different towards Naruto due to Naruto's change in character from pretty much the very beginning of the series. So, with that being said, let's jump back into the what if. So I kind of skipped over a lot of the things that were happening in the last part over what was going on. That's because I was going to explain them in this part. This is like what I'm trying to say is like the things that aren't happening with Naruto, like things that are happening in other villages. So Gaara is dead at this point because Naruto didn't gain friendship with him and make a better alliance pretty much for their villages, or give them a better relationship, I guess, in general. So he doesn't go to help him. Chio doesn't actually end up like sacrificing herself for him, and Gaara is just dead, basically. Sakura still ends up doing whatever, like, she would still train because Sasuke still leaves. Naruto also leaves, in a way, I guess you could say. So she still goes and trains with Tsunade, and those things happen normally. Jiraiya is still killed by the Paths of Pain, and after Pain pretty much goes to the village and finds out that Naruto isn't there, because the villagers wouldn't really have any reason to not tell him that Naruto left. So he'd just be like, okay. He'd be annoyed, and he'd use Almighty Push. Almighty, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore the fact that I accidentally said that. And he uses an Almighty Push to pretty much completely devastate the village. He then leaves shortly after that, but everybody pretty much, or most people, actually end up surviving that, other than like Kakashi and people like that who died in the actual battle itself. So after that happens, or they survive because Tsunade pretty much saves everybody, in a way, I guess, or most people at least, using her actual summoning. So that pretty much happens. Again, like I said, Gaara is dead, and most of the Jinchuriki or all the Jinchuriki other than basically Naruto and Killer Bee, are basically captured. So when Obito ends up pretty much resurrecting Madara, as I said, he actually manages to survive the Rene rebirth, and they have 7 of the Tailed Beast chakra inside of the actual Gedomazo, I think is how you pronounce it. And he'd probably have some of the 8 tails, because I don't see why Sasuke at some point, actually no, he wouldn't have joined the Akatsuki, but somebody else would have gone to do that. And they probably would have honestly done a better job than he did, just because he wasn't that powerful, or he was really strong at that point, but he just didn't really have the same how should I put this? He didn't have the same amount of battle experience as somebody like Itachi or something like that would have. And so we'll say Itachi or Pain goes, they would actually probably manage to get B. So it's really only Naruto left who has a Jinchuriki who has a tailed beast inside of him. So they summon all the different tailed beasts. Naruto actually manages to take on the tailed beast with some amount of difficulty, obviously with the help of Kurama and the Reaper inside of him. Like, he's not just using his base form strength. So This is pretty basically what happens is, or what would have to happen is they'd have to summon the Ten Tails, and either Obito or Madara would have to become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki in order to really do anything to stand against Naruto at this point. So we'll say that Obito still has the same plan that he did in the original, but due to him having that seal on his heart and no Kakashi there to stab him through the chest, at least not yet, that means Madara would have to become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, at least at first. So he becomes the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and like I said before, he has one Rinnegan and one Sharingan at this point, so he basically gets that. Obito still has his one eye, and he probably just has some other random Sharingan in his other eye, and they continue on basically becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. They once again challenge Naruto with a much better, pretty much, fighting chance at this point, because again, Naruto's really overpowered, but he isn't strong enough basically to take on the Ten Tails Jinchuriki at this point. He is probably honestly at his Sixth Path Sage Mode levels of strength at this point, but that doesn't mean he's stronger than Madara when he's in his Ten Tails Jinchuriki form. So after Naruto gets pushed back, and pretty much farther back, and gets pushed against a wall, realizing he needs more power, he tries something. He's never actually tried it before, because he's just been using all of his powers separately. He'd use a Reaper ability, and then he'd switch over to use something from Kurama. He's never actually thought of combining them. So he decides he's going to try to do that. At first, he unleashes his mastered Kurama cloak, but then he focuses, and he tries unleashing the Reaper's pretty much black mist around it, and it actually succeeds. And now, basically combining, the black and the orange make a really dark red color. And I know that's not actually how the color wheel works. I'm just, like, that just makes, like, a really shitty looking brown grayish color normally. But I'm just gonna say it, like, doesn't actually mix together. More of it just kind of like, okay, I'm changing that. It's basically kind of like the Kurama avatar Susanoo, basically. So, like, all of the Kurama chakra would be, like, flowing out, making that orange, like, basically glow around him. But he'd have the black mist surrounding that. So his eyes would be glowing orange, and, like, he'd have, like, orange, like, an orange, like, steam mist, like, pouring out of pretty much everything. And he now lunges toward the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. And he's actually he's winning this fight now. And eventually, obviously, Madara would try to get his other eye, and after basically stealing it from Orochimaru, he does so. And he gains his other Rinnegan, which, as everybody basically knows, is a massive power-up. So Black Zetsu is obviously still there, and he had obviously told Madara, or Madara would have summoned or not summoned, whatever you call it, basically the chakra tree big boy, like the giant, you know what I'm talking, the world tree. And after summoning it, he tells Madara to absorb it, basically trying to make it so that Madara turns into Kaguya at some point, or at least setting up the path to that. And Madara does so, and he's now on much more even footing with how basically powerful Naruto is at this point. And they're fighting blow for blow, but Naruto still has a fairly clear advantage in this fight. And he then starts using his, pretty much, abilities on top of just his physical strength. Shadow Leap. And he appears behind Madara, cutting him clean in half. But Madara's regenerative abilities with the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, he doesn't have Hashirama Sage Mode, obviously, but because there's no way he would have gotten that. So, wait, did he? I don't even know anymore. I don't know how this works. Or I don't know how that specifically works. But I think he gained Hashirama Sage Mode during the actual Fourth Great Shinobi World War, so yeah, he wouldn't have it. So without having that, his regenerative abilities are still the same, because it's Hashirama's cells that gave him the extra ability, so him getting cut in half don't really affect him all too much. And he basically regenerates his body, and their fight continues, with Naruto realizing he's going to have to, like, either completely decimate this guy's entire body, or just, I don't know exactly what he has to do, or he's trying to decide what he has to do, rather. And he comes with a conclusion. Maybe he can seal him. Because remember, he has the literal Death Reaper shield inside of him, and as if most people know, he's basically really good for sealing things as well as his physical boosts and different techniques that he has. So he'd basically give control, or he'd basically let the Reaper take control over his own body. This is due to his willpower being strong enough to basically counteract it. And he'd be like, you fight him and try sealing him away. Okay, will do, Naruto. As he runs forward, summoning his scythe. This is obviously the Reaper basically taking control over Naruto's body. And he runs forward and he swings his scythe down and he recites a sealing a sealing jutsu. And it doesn't work. To put this simply, it's kind of like how the Reaper Death Seal works. You have to be at least relatively stronger than the person that you're sealing it on. Like how Minato is pretty easily able to seal the Nine Tails, but how Hiruzen wasn't able to seal all of Orochimaru due to him being weakened at that point. So with basically Madara being the Ten Tails Jinchuriki and his like almost infinite amount of chakra at that point, he doesn't have the ability to seal him. So he gives control back over to Naruto and he says sealing him isn't going to work. We have to basically completely destroy him, and not let any trace of his body remain. Naruto nods at this, and he asks Kurama for some of his chakra. Kurama obliges, obviously, and he gives Naruto some of his chakra. And Naruto charges up a massive tailed beast bomb, and he adds the wind style to it. This is due to Naruto gaining a lot of pretty much proficiency over his chakra. Like remember, like he didn't have control over Kurama and he learned the Rasen Shuriken, so this means he was still pretty much affecting his chakra control, so I don't see a reason why Orochimaru wouldn't have been able to teach Naruto this. So with the tailed beast bomb shuriken, whatever you want to call the actual jutsu itself, Naruto throws it at Madara now. And Naruto then remembers something. Because Naruto has the physical ability to actually throw it at this point, he doesn't need Sage Mode to do it, but then he wonders. And he asks Kurama, he's just like, hey, Kurama, remember that time I almost went into Sage Mode? And Kurama nods and he's like, yeah, I remember. And he's like, could I combine Sage Mode on top of the 2 transformations I'm already in? And Kurama's just like, it's very risky, Naruto. I would only do it as a very last resort, but technically yes you can. And Naruto nods, basically putting this into the back burner of his brain for later on if he needs to. So eventually, after their fight continues on, Madara would awaken the Rene Sharingan, and he'd cast the Infinite Tsukuyomi. And I'm just going to say Naruto has the ability to resist this at this point due to him being the overpowered god that he is, and the Infinite Tsukuyomi would actually be cast. So, with the Infinite Tsukuyomi being cast, basically anybody on the world who doesn't have a Rinnegan at this point would be basically caught in the jutsu itself. So that means basically everybody other than Madara and Naruto himself. This is due to, I'm just saying, Naruto has the resistance in order to, or genjutsu resistance in order to do this. Maybe he has like complete immunity to it or something like that due to him having a Reaper. I'm not exactly sure, but I need to do that just to make the story basically proceed without Madara just completely winning this battle. So the battle continues on, and Madara basically says something. I'm about to get serious, Black Zetsu. Why don't you come in and help me? Black Zetsu nods at this as he walks up, but, to Madara's surprise, he gets stabbed in the back, and he turns around and he sees the black figure smiling at him. And this is where Madara obviously gets turned into the good old-fashioned Kaguya. So with Kaguya being summoned, she realizes that the literal only person here who would even point any challenge to her, and the only person who is conscious at this point, is Naruto. And she would basically take Naruto to her dimension and their battle would begin. And due to this Naruto being insanely overpowered and godly, he would pretty easily manage to take down Kaguya, actually. And I'm just saying this just because he was winning in their fight against, basically, Madara with two Renegon and a Rene Sharingan, as well as the God Tree, or World Tree absorbed, so there's no reason to assume he wouldn't really be able to take down Kaguya, especially with Kaguya just being woken up and her really limited, basically, battle skills. So, with that basically happening, Naruto pretty easily manages to take her down, and straight up kills her, and doesn't actually end up sealing her away at all. So Naruto goes back, and he's looking at this scene of the entire world in shambles, and he just kind of smiles to himself. But then he thinks, he doesn't want it to end like this. He wants to do it himself. So he wonders how he can undo this massive genjutsu, and he also realizes that a world without anybody in it to either torture or challenge would be a really boring world to even exist in. So he looks over at the moon, realizing that this is the source of the power of, or basically what is casting the genjutsu. So he looks at it, and obviously without him getting the powers of Hagoromo and undoing the jutsu through that power, he decides that maybe if he just destroys the moon, that would work too. And as we can see with a lot of the really endgame Naruto characters, with like cutting the moon in half and different things like that, with like Kinshiki and like basically all of the really high tier characters. And I don't believe that Naruto wouldn't be able to actually completely destroy the moon at this point. So Naruto destroys the moon, and we don't actually know. I'm just going to assume that this actually undoes the genjutsu. I haven't read into that, nor do I actually know this for a fact. This is just complete headcanon at this point. But I'm just going to say that undoes the actual genjutsu. Everybody is released from it, and they're wondering exactly what happened. This is where they look up, and just at this moment, they see that the sun is rising. And as they look up, they're looking at this cliffside where they see a figure standing there. They can see this weird orange and black, pretty much, mist coming off of him, and a massive reaper scythe in his hand. And as he's looking down, he's looking at all of the different people there. And he decides where his first target, where the first people he's going to slaughter will be. He decides that he's going to go to the Hidden Leaf Village and absolutely annihilate everybody there. So after heading to the Hidden Leaf Village, the first person he encounters there is Rock Lee and Mike Guy doing some training outside of the village. And Naruto encounters them and he just says, "Hey guys, it's nice to see you again." And they look at him and they're like, "Naruto!" And Lee wouldn't have actually seen Naruto at this point, but I'm just going to say, actually no, they know who he is. He's like an insanely high-ranked S-rank rogue ninja at this point, so yeah, they know exactly who he is. And they'd be like, "Naruto, why have you returned?" And Naruto just says, "Oh, weren't you wondering why the actual genjutsu got undone?" And they're like, "Oh, that was your doing? Are you trying to repent for something? Because well, maybe that would work." Because, again, Sasuke would be like, or Sasuke, because of his help with undoing the genjutsu, they allowed him to be free after some prison time, and they're like, "But we're going to have to take you to the Hokage in order to basically see if that's going to happen." Naruto nods at this. But this obviously isn't what Naruto is planning on. He just wants to get to the center of the village. He wants some attention before he kills everybody. So, as he's walking through the village, everybody's looking at him with fear. They know exactly who he is. Naruto is a very well-known person. Most people know him as the Reaper, the person who basically reaps the souls of everybody he comes in contact with, just because he kills them, and with absolutely no mercy, whether they be basically friend, foe, anything like that. Naruto doesn't care. He will kill them. So Naruto goes up, and he meets face-to-face with Tsunade for the first time, actually. And this is an interesting conversation. Tsunade would be informed that Naruto was the one that undid the genjutsu, and she'd be like, "So, you're trying to repent for all your past actions and join the village again, are you?" And Naruto just kind of smiles at this, not actually responding. And Tsunade would be like, "Well, we are going to have to basically put you in prison for a while we decide what we're going to do with you, just so you don't do anything weird." Naruto still doesn't reply, and Tsunade is getting up from her chair, but then she feels something. there's a basically massive amount of bloodlust coming off of Naruto now. And he looks up, his eyes glowing red as the black mist forms around him. The black mist then also forms a scythe, as well as the basically Reaper cloak and hood, and Naruto once again takes the form of the Reaper. And he brings the scythe down onto Tsunade, instantly ending her life. Now obviously, some Anbu would have been watching this, and they would have tried to stop him. However, they are nowhere near fast enough, so they jump down to try to basically face Naruto after he just instantly killed the Hokage. He easily manages to take them all down, and he leaves the Hokage basically office area. As he's walking out, he notices something. Sakura. And he walks over to her now. And he asks her something. Sakura, I have a question for you. Wait, Naruto, is that you? And Naruto just kind of looks at her, and then he smiles. This isn't a genuine smile. It's obviously very fake. Even to people who basically have no knowledge of who Naruto is, would know that this smile has literally no meaning behind it. They would know that this is an insanely fake smile. This is due to Naruto basically showing no emotion in basically anything he does. He would ask, and he'd just be like, "Did Tsunade teach you in some of your methods?" And Sakura would just nod at this, and Naruto just would basically say, "Why don't you go check on her? You might want to go see if she's okay," as he just kind of laughs to himself slightly before walking away. About a minute later, there can be a scream is heard throughout the village, and Sakura is running through the village saying that Naruto killed the Hokage. Everybody gathers up, and they find Naruto basically in the center of the town. This is obviously after the town is rebuilt, at least to a somewhat extent, because again, it still was destroyed. As Naruto is basically standing there in the middle of the village, he's surrounded by Leaf Ninja, all of his old friends. And as he's standing there, he kind of smiles to himself, knowing that he's going to get to annihilate all the people that made him feel the way he did. Other than that damn old man, he had to go and die before Naruto could kill him. Naruto now looks over at everybody surrounding him, and he just laughs maniacally. "I can finally kill you all," he says. And the scythe grows, easily 20 feet in length. Naruto now just spins around in a circle. Anybody anywhere near him gets instantly decapitated, leaving only the basically strong ninja left. And all of them jump at Naruto now. Naruto obviously easily annihilates each and every one of them, and all of his old friends, such as Sakura and Ino, Choji. He wasn't actually really that good of friends with them, obviously, but because he never really got that much interaction with them. He was actually kind of friends with Shikamaru, but that doesn't matter to him anymore. He kills basically everybody there, or not basically, he kills everybody there, and then he moves on, going to all of the different all of the different villages, massacring everybody there. And Naruto does this just to satiate his bloodlust. Nobody there can really pose any amount of a challenge to him, until he gets to one village. And this is the Hidden Stone Village. And after arriving there, he quickly notices that the Kage at this village is definitely stronger than any other Kage at the current time. And this is due to Onoki actually being really strong, at least with his particle style. And Naruto actually manages to take a little bit of damage from this. He gets a part of his arm actually removed, incinerated from this, and he just kind of smiles before regenerating his arm. He looks at Onoki, and he just says, "You're a bit different from everybody else," before pretty easily managing to kill him too with no further battle damage. Naruto goes around. He basically massacres every different village until it's literally he and one other person standing in front of him left alive on this world. The person standing in front of him is a little girl, and she looks up at Naruto now with tears in her eyes, before Naruto's smile grows even more as he brings his scythe down, killing her. Now, Naruto walks around, looking for any last survivors. He doesn't find any, and he's wondering exactly what he's going to do now. He doesn't really have anybody left to kill. So, Naruto spends most of his time wandering the plains and doing really nothing other than training. Training his own body, and training his mind to not go crazy with basically nothing to do. At least that is if Naruto isn't already crazy at this point, which basically he is. So, after hearing of Kaguya's demise, all, or not all, but some of the Otsutsuki members would actually end up coming down to the planet. So, Toneri would obviously easily be killed. Actually, Toneri might have died when the moon was destroyed. I'm not sure if he was up there at that point. Let's just say, either way, Toneri's instantly dead, and he has no reason to even come down to the planet in the first place due to there being no alive humans there other than Naruto. So, now the different, basically, Otsutsuki members arrive, such as Momoshiki, Kinshiki, all of those people. At this point, Naruto is just insanely too godly. He easily manages to take them all down, and Momoshiki basically turns Kinshiki and Urashiki, or Uru, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, into these chakra fruit, or not chakra fruits. I think that, actually, yeah, it is chakra fruits. He then eats them, and he transforms. He then starts fighting with Naruto, but he isn't any match for Naruto's just sheer power. So, Naruto would pretty easily manage to take them all down. Basically, anybody who came to Earth and tried to challenge him, Naruto would easily manage to kill them. Naruto would... he's just a god at this point. Nobody can challenge him, and nobody could actually change him either. Naruto at this point is just completely gone. No sense of mercy or anything like that even remain inside of Naruto at this point. No sense of his old self, who he used to be. He's just him. There's no other way to describe it. There's no term to describe just how ruthless and merciless Naruto is at this point. He is just Naruto. So, that's where I'm going to leave this part off, or this is probably going to be the last part, obviously. This is due to, there's nothing anybody can really do to Naruto anymore, so I'll see you guys in whatever my next what if is. Peace out. Bye.